YouTube, what's going on? It's J&A Exotics and welcome back. Now in today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about gut loading our feeders, the importance of supplementing our feeders, and what we should be feeding our reptiles. Now, let's jump into it. Now, in owning reptiles, a large majority of lizards eat primarily an insect-based diet. Now, with every single meal, we want to ensure that our reptiles receive the most nutritional value possible out of it. Now, our reptiles' health is our #1 priority, obviously. We want to keep them alive, happy, and healthy. The best way to ensure that they're receiving the most nutrition out of a meal is to gut load our feeders. Now, we should be taking care of our feeders just as well as we take care of our pets. Now, when we gut load our feeder insects with food, they are receiving proteins and nutrients that they would receive naturally throughout their diets in the wild. Feeding our reptiles malnourished, dehydrated, starved feeders offer little to no nutritional value, and they will lack vitamin B1, vitamin E, vitamin A, and vitamin D3 that our reptiles will benefit from. Now, the best way to gut load our feeders is with the proper foods. There are some powerhouse foods, some superfoods if you will, that are great for our feeder insects, such as carrots, sweet potatoes, butternut squash, collard greens, and dandelions. That's just a few to name off. Now, offering different foods offers a variety of nutrients for our feeder insects to take in. Now, staying away from things like white potatoes, spinach, celery, lettuce, berries, acidic fruits like oranges is really important. Things like white potatoes, lettuce, and celery, they really offer little to no nutritional value at all. Some berries, oranges for example, they can cause mold growth in your colony of feeders or whatever container you're keeping them in, and they can really cause digestive issues too if they're too acidic. Things like spinach contain oxalate, which binds with calcium, making it impossible to process through our reptiles' digestive systems. Now, there are great lists online that'll list all the foods we can feed our feeder insects. I only listed a few just to keep it short, sweet, and simple. Now, when it comes to commercial foods that we can feed our feeder insects, I stay away from them. While they can be high in things like calcium, they are loaded with preservatives and synthetic vitamins, and if all that stuff is bad for people, it's going to be bad for your reptile as well. It's just super convenient because it's already there in a jar and there is zero cleanup. Now, a good rule of thumb is to gut load your feeders 24 to 48 hours before feeding them to your reptiles. I take care of my feeders as if they were pets, even though I feed them to my reptiles, but I just want to make sure that I feed them several times a week to ensure my reptiles are receiving the appropriate nutrients out of that meal. Now, obesity is a huge problem in the reptile hobby. There are far too many obese reptiles out there, which can obviously lead to them being lethargic, or even worse in the future, it can lead to health issues. Now, keeping our reptiles on a feeding schedule with the correct feeders and the correct amount of feeders is key. Now, I do understand not all reptiles eat feeder insects, but keeping these guys on a feeding schedule with the appropriate amounts of foods will keep them happy and healthy. Now, the various feeders that we give our reptiles all have different protein, fat, and moisture contents, and honestly the best ones I can think of, the A tier feeders at the top of my head, is going to be dubia roaches, locust, and crickets. Now, all of these feeders are high in protein, averaging around 20%, while they are super low on fat content, only averaging around 2 to 7%. Feeders like black soldier fly larvae and mealworms, they are high in protein as well, around 18%, but they are a little higher in fat, which isn't terrible. They sit around 9 to 14%. Now, feeders that are considered a treat: giant mealworms, superworms, butterworms, waxworms. They offer mid to high protein contents around 14 to 22%, but they are super high in fats, around 20 to 29%. If you're a beginner, they may seem like a convenient choice because they're sitting in the fridge at the pet stores and you think, oh, that's convenient. I keep these giant mealworms or waxworms in the fridge. I don't have to worry about crickets getting out. That is not something you want to be feeding your reptiles every single feeding. Now, things I consider a healthy treat for my reptiles: silkworms and hornworms. They are generally not terrible at all. They are about 10 to 12% protein content, and they're super low in fat, averaging around 2%. Now, I'm sure a large majority of us already know this, but it is crucial to supplement your feeders with the appropriate calcium and vitamin dustings before you feed them to your reptiles. This is really just directed and geared towards newer keepers that may be watching this, but obviously you did your research before you bought your reptile and you already know this, right? I hope you did. Now, I mentioned you're going to want to buy 2 different types of calciums and 2 different types of vitamins. You're going to want to buy a calcium and vitamin with vitamin D3, and you're going to want to buy a calcium and vitamin without D3. Now, vitamin D3 plays a huge role in a reptile's life for bone growth and structure, and again, overall health. While our reptiles sit underneath their UVB lights, the UVB rays will interact with the cells in our reptile's skin, initiating the integration of vitamin D3 throughout our reptile's body. Vitamin D3 will use the proteins that carry calcium throughout your reptile, and they'll be transported through the bloodstream. Now, it is crucial to have a schedule with your supplements. You want to alternate between supplements with vitamin D3 and without D3. Now, vitamin D3 overload can happen. This can lead to health issues like hypercalcemia. This is too much calcium in the bloodstream. It can lead to tissue calcification down the long run. Hypercalcemia can also lead to organ failure. While yes, hypercalcemia is curable through an emergency vet visit, it is highly avoidable and we should not be putting our animals through this. So there you guys have it. That is how we should be feeding our feeders and also feeding our reptiles. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed today's video, smash that subscribe button, hit the notification bell down below so you don't miss out on any new content, and I'll see you in the next one.